Every time we do a live, which is every Sunday night at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, by the way, I get this one question that keeps getting asked over and over and over again. Mostly from young guys, but really from people of all ages. And it's how do I choose my first project? And honestly, right, that question always stops me in my tracks. Like, you just be talking and somebody throws that question out there and it's like, how do I answer that question? It's like, it's a tough one. Because, you're looking for honest guidance. But, I have no idea what your resources are. I have no idea what your experiences are. I have no idea what your aptitudes are or skills. So it's impossible to really answer that question, But I think about it a lot because it gets asked so many times. So it's like if you had to give somebody blanket advice, without knowing anything about them personally, right? But to give them blanket advice on how to choose or what's the best way to choose a project, I figured out what it is. And it's actually something that I do myself. Unconsciously, I just do it out of reflex. And it's, don't choose an orphan car. Now, when I say orphan car, I mean there's a lot of very cool cars out there that are very rare. And then you can get them at good prices. Like this AMX, for example, right? Finished, it's an awesome car. I have nothing against AMCs. I love these things, okay? But these cars were rare when they were new. Even the common models, like Rambler Americans or Ambassadors or any of those cars, they were rare when they were new. And there's no aftermarket support for them. If you wanted to get into a project like this, that's fine, but it's advanced. It's after you've mastered the art of hunting parts and networking and all of the little things that go into like the social experience of building a car. This is like way advanced. If I had to pick a simple method of choosing whether or not a project is something you want to get into as a beginner, I would say it's look for the commonality of the parts that keep it on the road. So, like for instance, let's just say, okay, think about it. It would be easier to find parts for an 1851 Chevy than it would be to find it for an 1851 Hudson, let's just say. If you're into old cars, it's easier to find parts for an 1873 Datsun than it is to find parts for a 73 Subaru. And you could take that right on down the line. It's easier to find parts for a 1970 Camaro or an 1870 Mustang or an 1870 Barracuda than it is to find parts for a 1970 AMX or Javelin. So what I would do if you're like at the beginning stage here and you're wanting to get into something that you can see through using the most common resources and not get hung up on having to track down crucial little things, to make the project run, I would say your homework is going to be on a place like Rock Auto. Now, Rock Auto doesn't sponsor it. I just chose it because when I need a common part, an air filter or whatever, I'll generally hit Rock Auto. Not sponsored by them. Any of those sites will work. Any of the auto part sites, Advance or O'Reilly's or any of them, okay? And make a list of the common parts of the car that you're considering. So let's just say it's an 1871 Nova, right? Which is probably one of the absolute best cars to get involved in because every single mechanical part, anything you need, any seal, any bearing, any tune-up part, any gasket is like almost instantly available. I do the same thing with the Mopars. I stay away from the really exotic one-off stuff, and I try to stick with parts that I can get, tune-up parts, seals, whatever, same day or next day through any common auto parts store. That's, if I had to give one tip, one thing to help choose your first project, that would be it. You want to be able to invest your time and your energy into making the car better, into improving it, into doing the body work or hot rodding or whatever you want to do. You don't want to get caught up in having to track down a brake hose or an axle seal or a U-joint or a trunnion joint or anything like that. You want to deal with a car that was in common production in its day. right? So regardless of what area you're looking for, regardless of what type of car you're looking for, you want to find a model that was in common use in its day and it has a good number of survivors, because the more survivors there are of any given car, the more common parts that you need to keep it on the road are going to be available through the aftermarket. Well, that's it. Just a quick one. I figured I'd answer this question like with one, broad video. I hope that does it for you. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow.